Hi, everybody, and welcome to our week number 16 Twitch live stream for our research methods class. Hard to believe that we have this week and next week, and then our class is over. So, definitely getting toward the very end of the semester. Thank you so much for those of you who are joining me live, or if you're watching this later, thank you for that as well. But what I want to do is kind of go over what we have going on this week. I know everyone is probably feeling very stressed out and kind of trying to hang in there as we near the end of the semester. So I'll try and keep it short and sweet today so I don't take up too much of your time. But I do want to make sure that you have an opportunity. If you have any questions, I want to give you that extra credit question and kind of go over what we have going on this week. So let's head over to Canvas together. And if you have any questions at any point, of course, feel free to ask. But we are in week number 16, right? And we have this week and next week, and we are done, right? And remember, as of last week, I did open up the remaining weeks for you. So you do have access to week number 17 already if you would like to go ahead and work ahead. Otherwise, no pressure. I will be covering exam 4 and the experiment proposal project and stuff next week when we meet for the last time. And I'm going to focus on week 16 this week, since that's where we are at the moment. So for this week, we are looking at chapter 4. And chapter 4, the last reading, the last chapter that you have to cover. This one, we are looking at ethical guidelines for research in psychology. And these haven't always been present. They're super important to protect the rights of research participants. So I have a little summary here, some ethical violations like the Tuskegee syphilis study, Milgram obedience study, some important principles and standards and research on animals as well. On the Beyond the Book page, a little bit about some other famous psychology studies that weren't the most ethical, but obviously very, very interesting. And then on the last page, as usual, you have your key terms and review of everything that you'll need to know for the exam. So make sure you read through everything. Don't forget to also read through the chapter in the textbook, as that's going to give you the bulk of the information and materials. And then you also have my lecture video to PowerPoint slides, as usual. This one a YouTube video, since there are no outside pieces of information in here. So make sure to watch that. That's going to be really helpful in understanding the content for this week. Then you have discussion number 16. So as usual, you have my instructions up at the top along with a video. You might want to watch the video to get my tips and suggestions. I kind of go over the prompt in a little more detail if you need a little bit more information. Don't forget to respond to a classmate to get those 2 easy points. And then your responses to my questions are worth up to 13. So for this week, you're looking at applying the knowledge that you've gained from chapter 4 on ethical guidelines for psychology research. I want you to read the short scenario below and then answer the questions that are related to chapter 4. So here's the scenario. Number 1, a developmental psychologist applies to an institutional review board, or an IRB, proposing to observe children ages 2 to 10 playing in a local McDonald's play area. Because the area is public, the researcher does not plan to ask for informed consent from the children's parents. Research scenario 2, a social psychologist plans to hand out surveys in her undergraduate class. The survey asks about students' study habits. The psychologist does not ask the students to put their names on the survey. Instead, students will put completed surveys into a large box at the back of the room. Because of the low risk involved and the anonymous nature of the survey, the researcher requests to be exempted from formal informed consent procedures. So for each of the scenarios, for scenario 1 and 2, I want you to answer the following 2 questions. 1, what ethical concerns exist for this study? Be specific. Be sure to reference specific concepts from chapter 4 in order to earn full credit, explain, describe, and so on. And then what questions might an international review board or an IRB ask about these research studies? So make sure to answer both of those for each scenario. Elaborate, really show off your knowledge and understanding of chapter 4. Don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 very easy points of credit. Other than that, for this week, I will post the recording of our live stream a little bit later today after it's downloaded and uploaded and all of that fun stuff. You do have your wrap-up checklist, and then I'll give you the extra credit here in just a moment. Remember that if you wanted to, you could work ahead the exam, the experiment proposal project, along with some examples, are posted for next week already. You're welcome to go ahead and start on that. If you know that next week's going to be crazy for you as we get closer to finals and into December, you might want to work ahead. If not, we are on week 16 now, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Let me give you a couple of quick reminders. The first one, I've mentioned this for a couple of weeks now. A lot of you have fallen off of your subscription status. If you have the chance to renew it, I would really appreciate it. I'm having to look everyone up, and I know as we hit the end of the semester, probably more of you are watching this as a recording. And if you'd like to be able to get those extra credit points, you do need to be subscribed. So please take a moment to look into that or try and address that. The other reminder I have for you, our last Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, December 6th at 12:30 p.m. Okay, so our last live stream will be next Wednesday at 12:30. I'll go over the final exam. I'll go over the experiment proposal project. And if you have any questions about the study guide or anything related to next week, that would be a wonderful time to ask me. I'd also really like to encourage you as we get to these last couple of weeks to double check your grades. If at any point you see something in your grades that seems wrong or off, or maybe something is missing, make sure you reach out to me before the class ends. Once it ends and I submit a final grade, it's very tricky to change it. Versus if you reach out to me now, I can very easily work with you to address that. So just maybe over the course of the week, double check your scores, your grade, your discussions, your exams. Just make sure everything looks correct. And if it doesn't, reach out to me and let me know so that we can address it together. Otherwise, what I'll do is I will give you our extra credit question, and then I'll hang out and see if you have any questions for me. Trying to be really short and sweet this week, as I know most of you are probably feeling a little overwhelmed with this part of the semester. So let me post this here in the chat. This is the week number 16 Twitch extra credit question. Okay, here we go. Posted. Okay, so what are the APA's 5 general ethical principles? And explain. Okay, so what are the APA's 5 general ethical principles? And explain. And then when you're ready to answer that, you'll go back to Canvas. And since we're in week 16, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 16 right here. And that's where you can answer this to get those 2 points. Remember, if you're joining me live, put your name in the chat unless you're subscribed. Or if you're watching this later, make sure you're subscribed and then you can still answer it. But you'll hit start assignment, and then in the box you can type your response and go ahead and hit submit. And this is worth up to 2 points. It is due by this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I love that so many of you have done these throughout the semester. A couple more opportunities between today and next week to get a few more points to maybe take pressure off the final or off a missed discussion or something like that. But otherwise, again, kind of keeping it really short and sweet today. I will hang out for a few minutes if you have any questions for me. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hang in there. We are definitely getting close to the end of the semester. So the light at the end of the tunnel, it's there. So hang in there as best you can. And I will hang out, as I said, for a few minutes if there's anything you have questions about. Otherwise, you can always email me a little bit later if you think of something later on. All right. Thank you so much for those of you who joined me today. And I will hope to see you next week for our very last Twitch live stream. And I am still here hanging out, petting my giant cat, Rolly. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you as well. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful day.